Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Hotspur Watchalong here on Stateside Footy. Man, oh man, oh man, I'm fired up after another international break has come and gone. Man, Spurs now get to get some of that feel good as they, if you guys remember, Spurs absolutely dismantled Leeds right before the international break. I'm hoping for a little carryover today. But that being said, before we get into it, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell because we are inching pretty close to the 500 sub mark. Man, what can I say, man? It's been awesome to get support from the Tottenham Hotspur community as well too. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe buttons. All right, so let's get into it. Spurs versus Aston Villa. And of course, if you've been keeping score, Aston Villa have actually won 4 on the bounce, 2 in the Europa League, 2 in the Premier League. And it feels like the things that made them a little shaky to begin the season, it feels like certain things have been ironed out. And of course, when you look at their starting 11 today, it looks like they have absolutely come correct. And of course, the question of whether or not I think it was what Thomas Frank still has yet to beat Unai Emery. But that being said, Tottenham Hotspur at home, and you're wondering what type of environment is going to be there today. Let's go ahead and get into the starting 11s for Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously, Vicario will be in net today. A back 4 of Jed Spence, Mikey Van de Ven, Cudi Romero, and Pedro Porro. And I understand that some were a little worried because we haven't heard yet what's going on with Destiny Udogie. He did get called up into the Italy squad. Did not play during this last international window. And so the question is whether or not there was a knock with Destiny Udogie. That being said, Jed Spence comes in. And when you're looking at matchups on this side, it looks like, Jed Spence is going to have to deal with an overlap of Gasson and Matty Cash. From an Aston Villa perspective. But that being said, it's like, in a 1v1 situation, I think we're all potentially happy with a Jed Spence. But that being said, it's not just necessarily about defense. It's also the ability to get forward. And because he's right-footed, it doesn't necessarily play the same as a guy like Destiny Udogie on the left. And of course, you're also worrying about, whether or not he's going to overlap correctly or be necessarily a threat on the left-hand side, combining with a guy like Wilson Odegaard. In the midfield 3, it's going to be Palhinha, Betancourt, and Xavi Simons. And of course, I actually like this because I actually think these are the 3 best midfielders that Spurs can put out. And again, when it comes to this midfield 3, listen, man, it's all about partnerships to me, and it's all about chemistry and continuity. And the more that these guys play, the better that it's going to be for Tottenham Hotspur. Because again, one of the things that we haven't necessarily seen is consistent playing time because of the rotation, whether that be for cup matches or a Champions League. Thomas Frank has kind of deployed a system where it's kind of based on matchups, based on what an opponent is actually going to throw out, which determined whether or not a guy like Xavi would play on the left, and then we would see a Pafsar or Lucas Bergvall. But that being said, I've always thought that it has nothing to do with being frozen out. Me personally, I just think that specifically for roles, Pafsar and Lucas Bergvall are, for me at least, better coming off the bench in that 65th minute type of area, especially, if Spurs have done their job right and have been holding possession and actually have been keeping their opponent on the run. Tired legs, equals a little bit better for guys like Pafsar and Lucas Bergvall to come on and also, do the damage of what we think that they can do. So from that standpoint, I'm perfectly fine with this midfield 3. On the attacking front, Wilson Odegaard will be on the left, and I'm actually okay with this. I think at this standpoint, he's probably the best option off the left for Tottenham Hotspur. Matisse Tell is going to be playing through the middle, and I like this too because me personally, I think it's actually a good thing to reward certain players for good performances. And the last time we saw Matisse Tell, he gets his first goal of the season playing up top, and now the question is whether or not the physicality of what a team like Aston Villa is going to be throwing out there. Obviously, Matty Cash will be on the right side of their back 4, but specifically attacking channels. on the right-hand side with a guy like Konsa, or even centrally, potentially trying to get space between both Konsa and Torres. That to me is going to be, we're going to know within the first 15, 20 minutes whether that's going to be a task for a guy like Matisse Talbot. Certainly he's earned the opportunity to go out there again. And of course, on the right, it's going to be Mohamed Kudus. And of course, I think this is going. I think this is actually the strongest 11 that Thomas Frank can put out there. I'm glad that this 11 is out there. The question is can this attack throw a couple wrinkles in there? I know a lot of people are potentially a little worried about the fact that Xavi is lining up in the 10, just considering that the way that he's been deployed has been based on matchups and exactly what a defense is going to be able to throw at Thomas Frank. But that being said, I don't have this type of worry, because considering that Xavi Simons actually is a natural 10, he plays it for his national team. And of course, he's been up against some of the better defenses in international football. So he's, as far as I'm concerned, man, he's tried and tested. And I know there is that little bit of a worry about how he hasn't necessarily shown it yet in the Premier League. But that being said, right, these are the type of matchups where you're going to see whether or not that is actually going to be possible. But that being said, I have no worry with Xavi Simons. It's going to take a minute for him just to kind of get adjusted, not only to a new country, a new team. And it's, he's the type of guy, that has, flair and class, and it's going to show too. And again, when I think about Spurs and how they've actually deployed over the course of the last couple of weeks, it really has been heavy rotation. So again, the more that these guys play together, the better it's going to be for this attack. Let's quickly look at Aston Villa because they're going to be deployed in a 4-2-3-1, and of course Martinez is going to be in goal. Of course, he's a world-class keeper, and goddamn it, he's actually a really good keeper. For Aston Villa, their back four is going to be Matty Cash off the right, Konsa and Torres as the center back pairing, and Digne will be on the left-hand side. A midfield pivot, Onana and Kamara, and that's actually going to be the test, is it? That midfield is actually going to be unbelievably physical, right? So the question is can Spurs be a little bit direct through the middle of the park? Is this going to be something where Aston Villa is probably gonna bunker down in the mid block and keep Spurs out on the wings? Very interesting question, and I guess we're going to find out within the first 15 minutes of whether what kind of look Spurs are going to give them. Their midfield three of Gassand on the right, Morgan Rogers underneath, and then McGinn out on the left. Of course, McGinn's wearing the captain's armband, and then of course Malin's going to be up on top, right? And for me, this is actually going to be kind of interesting, the way that both Rogers, McGinn, and Malin combined, how that's going to look. Whether or not in the buildup you're probably going to see two up top, or it's going to be interesting to see. Because that being said, it's like when I think about Aston Villa and the way that this team set up in the first portion of those 7 games versus the last 4, clearly something has clicked with their attacking three, and from that standpoint, right? I guess the question is who's got the better advantage? Is it the defending three of Polinia, Van de Ven, and Romero, or is it the attacking three of Aston Villa, right? So who's going to be more physical, right? I said, earlier today on the Irish Hotspur, for me, this was the best way for this team to start is to essentially not allow your opponent to dictate terms early in the match, because we saw that against Bournemouth, and we saw exactly how that played out, with them scoring an early goal and essentially taking the crowd out of the match, right? We saw that on the road at Bodo Glimt, and essentially being pressed to the front, essentially being pressed back onto the back foot and allowing an opponent, to dictate terms, right? There's a reason why, our home form has not necessarily been great, because it's taken us a while to kind of get into the match. And it's going to be up to Thomas Frank, but most importantly, it's going to be up to the leadership of this team to essentially, dictate this match on our terms from the opening whistle. Because the last thing that we want to be is put in a position where we concede an early goal, and it's going to take the next 45 minutes for us to potentially, to equalize. Because that's the challenge with a team like Villa, because they actually have the firepower to get that done from that standpoint, man. this is actually going to be a good test. I think I said yesterday on Spurs Diehards TTID that I actually had that Chelsea match circled out. Now that I think about it, this one's actually kind of a big one as well too, because when you look at the talent, you look at the firepower, you look at the coaching that Aston Villa kind of brings to the table, right? These are the type of matches that dictate how the next month and a half is going to go, right? When I think about this, it's like we saw it in the preseason a little bit, right? We saw it against Arsenal during that Asian tour. We saw it a little bit against PSG that this team can and will show up in big games, right? And so for me, that kind of sets the stage, considering when you look at the schedule coming up, we have Chelsea. I think we have Man U. I think we have Liverpool coming up as well too, right? So we have a lot of big name teams showing up, and I think it starts today because if this team comes out and we're talking winning every single 50-50 ball, we're talking about jumping into tackles and not being afraid to be physical, right? Establishing that identity with this crew, I think it's going to actually pay dividends as well too. So from that standpoint, this one's actually a very big matchup as well too, because again, and Aston Villa's coming into this matchup with 4 wins on the bounce, and with Spurs, right? You're kind of trying to figure out which team is going to show up. Is it going to be the team that showed up against Burnley or Leeds, or is it going to be the team that showed up against Bournemouth or Bodo Glimt, right? So we've seen a little Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde with the Spurs team. But that being said, yesterday I predicted a 2-1 Spurs win. So go ahead and let me know where you guys are at with this one. Drop something in the chat. Let me know exactly what your predictions are. Let me know how you guys feel about today's starting lineup and who your goal scorers are as well. Frankly, there we go. Because quite frankly, I'm just kind of curious exactly how you guys see this one going. The players are coming out onto the pitch right now. We are about 2 minutes away from the opening kick. And, again, when I think about this match in a vacuum, right, I always go back to the attacking three and the fact that Thomas Frank has had to juggle things, against different opponents just to be able to kind of find some rhythm and find some space. But that being said, for as crazy as it has been at times, I also look at our team's goal differential, and it's like it's kind of surprising to me that through the first 7, we've been able to not only get 4 wins but also manage 13 goals while only conceding 5. And so, and for me, that kind of shows a little bit of an identity as far as I'm concerned. It starts on the defensive side of things, and we have been able to manage to get some goals. Now, here's the thing, right? For as much as I talk about starting quickly and establishing that identity early in matches, one of the things that I've been impressed was even when they have started slow, they still managed to find their way back into the match, whether it was an equalizer or a late winner. And to me, that kind of shows resolve, man. That kind of shows toughness a little bit. I don't think that this team is soft by any means whatsoever. And I know that seems to be a little bit of a common theme with this team, that this team is soft. I don't see that at all. None whatsoever. As a matter of fact, by showing resolve to be able to hang in matches, it's a fast cry from what we saw the last couple seasons, where when we conceded early, you pretty much knew that the match was going to be over because you had a feeling because the attacking three was so piss poor, and because this team didn't really have a lot of confidence, they would pretty much fold. That's not the case anymore. I don't think this team folds at all. As a matter of fact, I think this team shows its toughness at certain points to be able to get back in the game. That to me, that shows a sign of a good team. It shows signs that this team is figuring it out. And oh, by the way, if they win today, they move to second place in the table on 17 points. Dan Davenport, my guy, checking in. He says 2-1 to us. Kudos in Richarlison. I would love it. I don't think Richarlison gets into this one, but I would. I actually love that one. And we're off here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as Aston Villa now will control possession as they're moving from left to right. as this one gets played back to Martinez. As Spurs are trying to press the ball. And that one is going to come back, and Spurs now will have possession as they're going to try to play it quick as that through ball gets past Matisse Tell right there. And Martinez will pick this up and quickly play it out to Konsa. And he plays it deep, trying to go over the top. But there's Vicario. Looking for McGinn. As Spurs will play this out of the back quickly. As Vicario will have to play this off to Mikey Van de Ven on the left, who goes immediately direct. Looks like he was looking for Odebear right there. And Villa will quickly regain possession. As Martinez will play this long. As that's going to get out off the right-hand touchline. So this will be a Spurs throw in here. As it looks like Villa, within the first couple minutes, have attempted to play over the top here. So far, so good as far as that back line is concerned. Granted, we're only a minute 47 into this damn thing, so kudos and Simons, then. The funny thing is, like, for the last 3-4 weeks, I've actually predicted a Simons goal, only to not see that happen. So I don't want to jinx it. So I think I went Kudus and Van de Ven off a set piece. As we are ready to continue, it looked like the official had a mic issue. As that ball will be thrown a little higher up the pitch, that comes down. And it looks like Pedro Porro ripped it away. And now he's going to try to play this long. As that ball gets skied, but it's going to come down to Spurs here. And there's going to be a whistle. And it looks like that's going to go against Spurs here. So here's the replay as Coates is going to play this one down to Matty Cash off the right-hand side. Cash is going to play one in, and that's going to go all the way through the 18 and out for a Spurs throw-in. As it looked like Villa was trying to catch Spurs flat-footer there. But the Matty Cash cross was just a little too hard here. As Pedro Porro now looking for an inlet pass here. As that is finally played in. As it gets played all the way back, but Matisse Tell couldn't break through as that gets played back to Martinez here. Spurs are doing a pretty good job of trying to press the ball here. Oh, that's taken away. Kept in. And that's going to get out, and it looks like it's going to be a Spurs corner, as it was Matisse Tell. Did a very good job of getting that turnover, keeping it in, and then forcing a corner. As Thomas Frank is happy. And it looks like Tell's taking the corner. As that ball gets played in, immediately he's headed out, but Spurs will hold possession here. As that ball goes into the back post. Ooh, it's a goal! Rodrigo Betancourt puts Spurs ahead 1-0, 5 minutes into the first half here. As that cross came in, I believe from Wilson Odebear to the back post, headed down. As we see it again, and it was Odebear The question was tell offside. It didn't look like it. As that gets headed down, and there was Rodrigo Betancourt to clean it up. Beautiful goal by Spurs. And it took a deflection off of Onana right there. Woo! And that's how you start. That's how you start. Off a set piece. Woo! As play has restarted. And that ball will find its way back to Vicario. So far, Spurs have figured out a way to get on the board early, starting quick off a set piece. And it's 1-0 Spurs. As Spurs now will play this long from Van de Ven. Trying to go up to the right-hand side. It's Kudus. Kudus is in the box. And they're going to say it's offside. It's Mohamed Kudus almost put him up 2-0. As Mikey Van de Ven found him. Yeah, and they were offside. Yeah, big time they were offside. As it looks like both Kudus and I'm going to say Baptiste broke early. So instead of a quick 2-0, it will still say 1-1, but it's still 1-0. But that being said, man, Spurs have absolutely taken it to Aston Villa here in the early going, as they're going to try to play this one up the right-hand side. But that one's going to get played out by Jed Spence. All of a sudden, man, Spurs have absolutely slapped the shit out of Aston Villa here within the first 7.5 minutes, nearly putting in a second. But Rodrigo Betancourt scoring off the set piece, and Aston Villa just has yet to take a breath, and they're already down 1-0. Here comes Villa just dribbling all the way down the left-hand side. That's good defense right there as Digne. I agree. I agree, Audio. I believe that we will win as well too. I see what you're doing there. As Villa now will have the throw in here. As that one is going to get played into the box. Headed on forward. Spurs try to clear, but Aston Villa will hold this one in. As that's going to get played all the way to the right. Here's Matty Cash. Matty! As they're going to try the right-hand side again. And again, they're going to try the right. I sense a theme. Oh, that's a good deflection right there, as that's going to get played all the way back. Vance. As that's going to go out. And it looks like this is going to be a Villa throw-in. But Spurs have started quick here. Getting the first goal off the set piece. But this will be a Villa throw-in off the right-hand side, as that's going to go into the box. And it looks like they tried to find Malen right there. But there is a whistle. And I think this is going against Villa. How you been, Audio? Hope the weekend's been well. As Jed Spence will be in charge of this throw-in here. And that's going to get played back. And Van de Ven has to act quick, as that one's going to get switched. And Porro will just play this back to Vicario. So far, so good. Spurs have looked absolutely dynamite in the attack. Getting nice matchups and overloads. As it's Betancourt getting pressure, that one's going to go out. That was a bad pass. And that'll lead to a Villa corner kick here. Good job right there for Villa on the defensive side, pressing hard. And it'll be McGinn taking this corner. El Captain. The question is can Spurs capitalize on this early momentum? Potentially go up 2 before the half. As McGinn will whip this one in. That one's going to come down. Deflected away. And I think this is going to be a goal kick. Yeah, it kind of has to be a goal kick, doesn't it? Off to the mothers for dinner after the game. Yeah. Oh, I hope that goes well for you, man. Nice little Sunday dinner. They're going to say it's another corner. Yeah, that's the problem, right? My mom is back in Washington, so it's hard to do those dinners. As that one goes to the back post, and that's going to get out. As we see this one again. And I actually think this is going to be a goal kick. Yeah, it will be. Yeah, with my mother out there in Washington, it's kind of hard to get together for those Sunday dinners. But I hope it goes well for you a little bit later today. As that one's going to have to get played all the way back to Vicario, as Villa was kind of pressing the touchline there. So it'll be Van de Ven. And now it's going to be Romero. As Spurs try to build up. And now they will switch past to the left-hand side. Here's Van de Ven. And again, we'll as Spurs are trying to figure out which way they're going to attack here. Here's Pedro Porro, plays it up to Kudus, who immediately plays it back. And Spurs will reset here. Yeah, as Audio Iverson's asking, are you going to get to see her for Thanksgiving? No, but I will get to see my mother over Christmas. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, getting back to the Seattle area and seeing my mom. Get to also see the ex-wife and my kids, so that's going to be nice as well, too. As this ball is going to get played forward. Headed up by Tell, but there's Kudus, who's going to hold up that ball nicely. As Kudus is going to try to play this one forward. As there's a whistle, so we're going to find out exactly if this was on Kudus or if this was on Digne right there. Looks like it's going to be a Villa. It's going to be a Villa free kick here. As that ball now is going to get played deep. And it was Cudi Romero first to the ball. Pearl Jam or Nirvana, huh? Oh, Nirvana, without a doubt. The real question is it Nirvana or Alice in Chains? And, of course, it's Alice in Chains 100%. As that ball gets taken away. And there's a shot on net that goes wide. Ooh. As there was a turnover right there high. As Matty Cash put one on. Lucky. And it looked like that that mistake was courtesy. As that's a turnover centrally as well, too. The Van de Ven will come in and try to clear this one. That's going to get out. That was actually not a bad save right there from Van de Ven, because again, centrally, the second straight touch, Spurs have coughed it up centrally. Those are the type of mistakes that lead to goals. Spurs need to calm down a little bit as this one gets moved to the right hand side. As Villa tries to set up here, nearly taken away. Tell you what, man, Matisse Tell has actually played well, man. As that one skips on past Digne right there, so that'll get out for a Spurs throw-in. I will say that Matisse Tell, his movement, his ability in the press has been absolutely lights out. That one gets deflected. Spurs will retain. Here comes Jed Spence now pushing up the left-hand side. Here's Spence. Plays it forward. Oh, Wilson Odebear got to it, but that's actually really good defense right there. Again, Pedro Porro just picked Mullen's back pocket. And here comes Spurs now up the right-hand side. Yeah, I would agree. Audio. 100% I would agree with that. Again, Spurs have had no trouble showing up against big opponents. It's that consistency when they're not playing a Villa or a Liverpool or an Arsenal or a Chelsea. As that ball gets played forward. And I think that's going to be offside. Yeah. He started his run just a little too early. As Villa now will hold possession. As there's going to be a whistle. And it looks like Kamara hit the deck there as 3 Spurs tried to converge on him. As Villa will start again. Here's Cash, who's going to lay this forward. And that's going to be a little too far forward, and that gets out for a Spurs goal kick. So it looks like the intensity has started to ramp up a little bit for Unai Emery's side, as Guasson right there was trying to get played on. Spurs started out absolutely electric, and since then we've kind of seen Aston Villa ratchet up the pressure, just like right there, as it looks like it was Onana that came in to pressure the ball, and Spurs had no choice but to play it out. Good decision, by the way, as that one's going to get played into the box. That'll come down. Oh, that's a nice little run right here. As that'll get deflected out. And it looks like a Villa player is hobbling a little bit. As Spurs now will play up the right-hand side. It's Pedro Porro who's going to play one to the backside. He's got a man open. Oh, a little too far forward for Wilson Odebear, who was wide open at the back post. Oh, great decision right there by Porro. Just a little too much mustard on that one. As Aston Villa now will try to play this one out of the back. As Spurs are pressuring the ball. Here's Martinez as he lays it off. As that ball's going to have to get played forward. That's going to be headed back. And that's a beautiful play right there by Jedi. And Spurs again will try on that right-hand side. Here's Porro, who's going to try to play one forward to Kudus. and he's found his guy. Kudus cutting in, and that one's going to get deflected out. So with nowhere to go, Kudus just opts to get the corner. And this will be Spurs' second corner here. Last time Spurs scored off their corner. See if he can identify Van de Ven or Romero here. As Kudus will whip this one in. Back post, and there's Martinez. Heads up play by Martinez. Ooh. And there's a whistle. Yeah, I was going to say that, yeah, there's going to be some, there's a lot of chippiness right there as Spurs were essentially playing the ball, but looks like the ref has taken out his yellow. As we look at it again, yeah, it's Mikey Van de Ven right there who tried to play the ball, but ended up getting the foot of Morgan Rogers. So Van de Ven now catches a yellow. Yeah, I don't mind it. As there's a turnover centrally. Spurs couldn't contain it. So here comes Villa now. Oh, that's a very good play right there. Good tackle. So here's Spurs on the break. Here's Matisse Tell off the left-hand side. Tell cutting in, plays it off. Oh, and there's no whistle at all. As now they're going to try to play this one. Here's Van de Ven. As Van de Ven will hold it. As we see it again, Matisse Tell played it in. Right to Wilson Odobert. Oh, as Onana got all foot. No ball. As we see it again. Oh, no whistle. As Odobert was looking for it, didn't get it. I don't know, though. The replay from two different angles showed two different things, though. As here's Betancourt, who swings it over to Romero. That's a good pass right there. As Betancourt will try to play it through to Kudus. A little bit behind, so here comes Villa now. That one's taken away. Here's Jed Spence now. Down the left-hand side. He's got looks like he's got a streaking tell right there. Here's Spence. Plays it a little centrally. And he's got to play this one back to Polina. And Spurs will reset. Here's Van de Ven, who's going to swing this one wide. It's Jed Spence. And Spence has nowhere to go. And now the Spurs will now try the right side. That's a good pass inside. And that's going to get out. As he was looking for Pedro Porro. Spurs are flexing their muscle, man, as they win another corner here. I'm definitely liking this version. Very good in central areas as well, too. As that ball gets played in, that's going to be way far to the back post. That's going to get out. Again, looking for Wilson Odobert. Not exactly the best corner right there. As we see it again, a little too much. As yeah, that went right off the boot of Wilson Odobert right there. So as Martinez will play this long. And it's Romero as that one gets played out. I agree, man. I agree. I totally agree with you. I wish we could play this way. 100%. That's it's the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde Spurs. That one's taken away, and it gets played out. I think this is going to be a Spurs throw, and it will be. Yeah, that's the biggest problem. It's there's no issue with motivation when it comes to these big teams. I think Spurs have proven that even under Ange Postecoglou that they're more than willing to get up for big games, right? But it's Thomas Frank trying to convince this team that even when you're playing a Leeds or a Burnley or a Fulham, that's equally as important as well too. And I'm hoping that gets ironed out, as that one's going to get played all the way back, as Aston Villa now will control possession. For those that are just tuning in, Spurs lead 1-0 off a set-piece goal from Rodrigo Betancourt. Nearly made it 2, but it looks like both Tell and Kudus were offside, as that one's going to get played down the middle. Oh, what a play. What a play by Cudi. As now Porro is going to play this one down the left-hand side. He's got Odebear, 1v1. Cuts in. Odebear puts one on. Ooh, good save right there by Martinez as the ball squeaked away, but he was able to recover. I absolutely love that play by Odebear. Creating rebounds in dangerous areas, as you saw him cut in on Cash as he put one on. Oh, and he had Matisse Tell right there too. As Martinez will play this. A little short. And now it looks like Villa's going to try to hold possession here. As Spurs are quick to play the ball. That was a good pass centrally. Taken away by Spurs. Here's Kudus. As they're going to play this one around. Here's Van de Ven, who's going to hit Jed Spence off the left flank. Spence trying to play the 1-2 with Odebear. But it has to get played back. Here's Betancourt. Off to Van de Ven. It's Spence. As this gets cycled around. As Cudi will get it played back. And again, it goes to the left-hand side. And now here comes Villa. Pressuring the ball, and it has to get played back to Vicario. And Vicario will play it out to Van de Ven. The process starts over. This one gets played high. And there's going to be a whistle. As it looks like Matisse Tell went up for that ball, but a Villa player came down. As play is resumed, as Cash looks like it's going to play it back to Konsa. Ooh, that's taken away. And Villa immediately takes it right back. Off the right-hand side. Oh, good defense right there by Spurs. As Porro now is going to try to play this forward, and he does. And that's going to get played out. Good defense right there by Spurs. But right now, it is a battle in the midfield. I think Spurs have done a very good job of matching intensity in the central areas of the pitch. Ooh, nice tackle. Was that Xavi? As this will be a Villa throw-in. As Villa will now play this back. And it's going to be Konsa. Here's Matty Cash off the right-hand side. Spurs convene. And immediately it gets played back. Oh, good tackle right there. Here comes Spurs now on the break. In the box. It's Tell. Cuts in. Good defense right there. Very good defense right there by Villa. And down on the ground is Onana. And as we look at this one again, yeah, João Palhinha came in with a great sliding tackle as Onana hit the deck. As we see it again. Ooh, and he looks like he came down on his shoulder. Ooh. Ooh, I like this. Never do I actually like seeing players get hurt, but that being said, it's Aston Villa. There's a history here. There's a history when it comes to physicality between these two teams. Oh, without a doubt, dude. Without a doubt. Without a freaking doubt, dude. He, like, not just the experience with the physicality as well, too, dude. This dude is a wipeout six. Puts out fires everywhere, and you can also score goals and scores goals as well, too. Right? The first order of business is making sure Palhinha stays in this side for at least the next couple of years. And hopefully we can develop a guy like Archie Gray into that type of player. That is the hope, right? But until then, João Palhinha is such a crucial part of this 11. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying as well, too. Shame it wasn't Matty Cash. As Villa now will try to play this one out of the back. And Martinez will pick this up and immediately goes all the way to the right-hand side. But yeah, that's the thing. I was wondering, as that ball gets played long, as Vicario comes out to handle his business, I was wondering who is going to pick up that slack, knowing the injury history with Betancourt versus Cash, right? So you wonder if there was going to be any get back, or whether or not Spurs were going to match physicality. And I think they've done a fantastic job of it so far. As now Cash will try to play this up the right-hand side. That's a good ball in. Taken away. Cleared. Held in by Villa. As it works its way to the left-hand side. Played in. Ooh, Vicario. Punches it away. Look at that's kept in, no whistle. Now it's finally cleared, but Pedro Porro stripped the ball off the left-hand side there. But Villa will hold possession. Taken away. Here comes Spurs now on the break. As that one's going to get laid off. It looks like it's Odebear. Odebear now. 1v1 against Cash. Odebear. And that gets taken away. As it was Onana. And now it's going to have to get played forward. Oh, here we go. As Spurs now will regain possession. It looks like it's Palhinha who was able to play that one back to Vicario. And Spurs will reset. So it looks like, let's see, I really like the look of George Abbott. He's doing very well alone. He's the only traditional 6 we've got on the books. Yeah, I guess one that's being currently developed, sure. But that being said, it's like Archie Gray actually is a traditional 6, even though he really hasn't been. This is like the first year where he's really been developed as a 6. As Spurs try to play that one long, a little too far forward for Xavi Simons, and so now Aston Villa will have to play it back to Martinez, and now they'll reset. Oh yeah, he's on loan with what, Wickham? As Vicario now will play this long. Oh, there was no whistle? Holy shit. Home dude just grabbed him by the shirt and threw him down. That's a good tackle right there. As they're going to play this one out to the right. As that one's going to go on, and they're going to equalize right there. Oh, as it was Morgan Rogers. But that being said, it really never should have came to it. Holy shit. As that ball was played long by Vicario. The fact that home dude was wrestled. Yeah, and by the way, that shot came from the outside as well, too. That was an absolute banger right there. Yeah. I don't think Vicario even gets to it at all. But that being said, it's like, that never should have came to it. There should have been a whistle. As Vicario played that long, it looked like it was what Matisse Tell, that was literally just thrown down to the ground by his shirt. But yeah, that was an incredibly nice finish right there by Morgan Rogers. And again, you were kind of worried about that, just considering that as far as Vicario is concerned, that's kind of his Achilles heel. Here comes Van de Ven now. That's nearly taken away. You wondered because Vicario's Achilles heel is that shot from the outside. As they're going to try to play Caduce on, and they do. Here's Caduce. As Caduce will play this one in. Ooh, there's Martinez. Here comes Villa. And Spurs will hold possession. Yeah, there's a whistle. And now all of a sudden we have a scrum. As we find out what the end result here. Oh yeah, by the way, there was no foul at all on Rogers. Looks like Rogers just fell on his own accord. Yeah, no. No, 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 no. There was no foul on Rodgers. As Xavi completely missed him. Here's João Palhinha. Oh, yeah, that was on the goal. Whatever. Yeah, that was a nice finish. As now Morgan Rodgers is going to have to come off real quick. As this will be a Spurs free kick from a pretty dangerous area here. As Porro will be, it's like Porro is going to be taking the free kick here. As we're in the 41st minute here. As that one's actually going to get played off the ref. Here's a ball in. Back post. Oh. Oh. Oh, as Pedro Porro played it off the ref. Oh. Oh, Tell missed it. He was there at the back post. Oh. Oh, Matisse. Matisse. As Spurs are now doing a very good job here as that one's going to get played forward. Taken away. That's a good pass right here. Here comes Spurs now at the right-hand side. As that one's laid back to Bakari, it looks like Morgan Rodgers is back on the pitch. And Spurs will reset. As that ball's going to get played forward. Looking for Matisse Tell. As that one gets played out by Martinez. As we're in the 43rd minute here. This match is all even. 1-1. As that one's going to get played out again. And it looks like this will go to Aston Villa. I'll tell you how he missed that one, Audio. I'll tell you. He missed it because he missed it. That's all I got on that one. That was absolutely just, oh. I don't like to use the term shambolic, but here comes Villa now. As Konsa was being pressured. Errant pass here. And that has to be played back to Vicario. As Spurs come up with possession as well. They're doing a very good job closing down defenders and forcing Villa into errant passes. Spurs have done a very good job when it comes to implementing their mid block. Doing a very good job. But then again, so is Villa. As here's Cootie. Was that Danso? As there's a whistle. Is that Danso? Yeah, I guess it is. Interesting. Fair enough. Let me check something real quick. Yeah, Romero. Yeah, I guess something happened. Romero came off. Interesting. As that ball is going to get swung to the left hand side, back post. Ooh, and Van de Ven was there. Did I? By the way, man, did I miss something? Did Romero come off? What's the ish? As that was nearly a goal right there. God damn it. That's funny. That's funny. As this will be a Villa goal kick, as Martinez will play this one long. Spence will lay this one off as Vicario. Ooh. And now Villa has to play this back to Martinez. He plays it long. That's Van de Ven. Here's Odebear now. Excuse me, Matisse Dell. As Polina plays it over to Danso. Ooh. And it looked like Pedro Porro was signaling for a handball right there. Here's Van de Ven. All the way out to Spence, who lays this one off. Here's Odebear. Odebear. For Polina. Here's Jed Spence now. Off the left-hand side. Spence is going to try to cut in. Gets muscled off the ball. Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh no, that hit off the hip. As play resumes, and it looked like Xavi Simons came over and got some retribution on Jed Spence right there. As now they're going to try to play this quick, and that's going to get out of bounds. 5 minutes of extra time here, as we're already pushing at the 3-minute mark here, as that's going to get played back. And it'll be the tiny Danso. Here's Odebear. As Spence is on the overlap. Spence will drop this one off. Here's Spence, plays one in. And that's going to get out. As Onana. Good deflection, but it'll get out for a Spurs corner. As this ref is kind of allowing the physical play. Now, that actually was a nice little sliding block right there by Onana. I believe this is Tell. Again, taking the corners. That ball gets played in. Headed away. And I believe that is the half. So at the half, Spurs and Aston Villa are knotted at 1-1. Goals by Rodrigo Betancourt, and of course, one by Morgan Rogers. And by the way, that goal should never have been allowed, just considering the play right before it. But I digress. Let's go ahead and get into the halftime stats real quick. When it comes to possession, Spurs lead 56 to 44. The XG Spurs 0.28 to Aston Villa's 0.12. Total shots are at 3-3. Spurs lead shots on target 2-1, and Spurs have had 3 big chances. They've also missed 2 of those. Accurate passes, Spurs 206, Villa 150. Fouls committed, Spurs 7, Aston Villa 4. And Spurs lead the corner battle 4-2. When we talk about shots, obviously 3-3. When you talk about shots inside the box, Spurs have all of their shots inside the box to Villa's none. And Villa's 3 shots have been taken all outside the box. And of course, they scored on 1. Passes total, Spurs 229, Villa 180. Passes in their own half, Spurs 137, Villa 97. Passes in the opposition half, Spurs 69, Villa 53. Accurate long balls, Spurs 15, Villa 6. Accurate crosses, Spurs 4, Villa none. Touches in the opposition box, 14-3, and Spurs have been whistled offsides 2 times to Villa's 0. Defense, tackles, Spurs lead the tackle battle 14-11. Interceptions, Spurs 4, Villa 2. Blocks, Spurs 1, Villa none. Clearances, Spurs 14, Villa 6. Duels, it looks like Villa's leading the duel battle right now, 28-24. Ground duels, Villa 22, Spurs 21. Aerial duels, 6 for Villa, Spurs with 3, and successful dribbles, Villa 5, Spurs 3. So from that, you get the accurate picture that Spurs have actually been on the front foot most of this first half, while Villa's essentially been relegated to counterattacking situations, which I guess it is what it is, right? The physicality, it's been interesting, right? Because this ref has actually allowed these teams to kind of get a little chippy. He has maintained a nice little balance, but that being said, it's like some of those, there was a couple missed calls right there. The big one, obviously, leading to the Morgan Rogers goal, where that probably should have been whistled, because the last time I checked, man, you're not allowed to necessarily wrestle players down by their shirts. But I digress. What do I want to talk about right now? Yeah, let's do this real quick. Let's go around the EPL real quick as we kind of take a look at what has happened around the league since the start of match week 8. Chelsea beat Nottingham Forest 3-0. Goals by Achimpong, Neto, and Reece James. And of course, because of this match, an old familiar friend, Ange Postecoglou, gets the sack 40 days into his tenure. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Chelsea wins 3-0. Sunderland beats Wolves 2-0 as Mukalele scored in the 16th minute and Krejci scored which was an own goal in the 90+2 as Sunderland picks up another 3 points. And that's actually kind of been impressive to watch. Burnley beat Leeds 2-0 with goals by Uchekwu in the 18th minute and Chikana in the 68th minute. So congratulations, Burnley, picking up 3 points over Leeds. Crystal Palace and Bournemouth played to a 3-3 draw. That thing was absolutely an absolute banger as Mateta had a hat trick and goals by Bournemouth. Krupi actually had a brace. And Ryan Christie scored in the 89th minute. So that match was an absolute banger yesterday. Brighton beat Newcastle 2-1 as Danny Welbeck actually had a brace himself. And Woltmaid actually scored for Newcastle in the 76th minute. Man City beat Everton 2-0 yesterday with Erling Haaland catching a brace. Arsenal barely squeaks by Fulham as Trossard scored in the 58th minute, and that was the only goal as it stands. So another tough break for Fulham. But that being said, it's Arsenal. And of course, at the half right now, Tottenham Villa 1-1. And later today, Liverpool hosts Man United, which probably should go the way that we think. And of course, tomorrow, West Ham will host Brentford. And I'm sure we all know exactly how that one is going to turn out as well, too. So those are your scores from around the EPL. And of course, when we look at the table, Arsenal right now, they've won 4 out of their last 5 on the bout, 3 on the bounce, and they lead on 19 points. Man City, again, they've also won 3 on the bounce, 4 out of their last 5. They're sitting at 16. Liverpool is sitting on 15 points as they've actually lost their last 2. Bournemouth is also sitting on 15 points, and there's our beloved Tottenham Hotspur sitting on 14 points. As of right now, if you're going off the live standings, it would be 15 if this one holds out. But a win today vaults them all the way to second place on 17 points. Also on 14 points is Chelsea and Sunderland, with Crystal Palace right behind at 13 points. So right now, that table, man, that table is absolutely on fire. Let's see. Not sure what the issue is with Kudya's, maybe jet lag. Yeah, potentially. But that being said, when I think about this first half, I think Spurs have done everything that they were supposed to be, man. Matching intensity, not shying away from a tackle. I think they've been aggressive in those 50-50 balls. One of the things that I've absolutely been impressed is the fact that, their pressing has led to a lot of turnovers, meaning there was a lot of very good counter-attacking opportunities. I think Spurs have been absolutely aggressive by playing balls in the box. Again, man, being able to manufacture goals, getting one again off the set piece early in this one. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but for me, I think that's absolutely brilliant. Now they just need to get one from the run of play, and hopefully our defense is good enough to hold off Aston Villa. Because again, I did predict a 2-1 Spurs win, so we'll see how it happens. But that being said, man, there were some near misses. Matisse Tell missed an absolute back post. Essentially what I would consider a back post sitter. I think there was another ball that got played to the back post, and I think it was Wilson Odebear that nearly had an opportunity. So Spurs have been very aggressive, especially down that right-hand side. They've done a very good job. So I would probably think that the same on the left-hand side, because Odebear had a couple nice little balls in from a deep position off the left as well too. So from that standpoint, Spurs have done a very good job, man. I guess you can say when in totality, that's what I'm looking for. I think Spurs have done a very good job on the attack. Now the question is how does this second half play, right? How much longer are we going to see Matisse Tell playing a little bit more centrally, and when is he actually going to pull the trigger on Rando Kolomwani? Because he is available, and I think from everything that Thomas Frank has said, he's about to make his Premier League debut with Spurs today. So the question is when does that happen? Is this something that's going to happen right at the 45? Is this going to be in the 55 to 60 minute type situation? That is, for me, that is actually going to be key as well too. Also, when are we going to see Papsar and Lucas Bergvall? A big part of me thinks that we might see Brendan Johnson at some point, although I think that's going to be a little later. I can't see Brendan Johnson coming in early in the second half. A big part of me, I don't know, man. I can't imagine it. Yeah, maybe Kudya is dealing with jet lag. Yeah, possibly. And of course, Tell should have scored. Yeah, he should have. That was bad. That was absolutely bad. Let's go ahead and find out. See if we can find some news on Kudya Romero here. Let's see. Let's find out if we actually have some. See if we can find something. Let's see. Interesting. The interesting thing was that Romero Didn't play against Costa Rica. Interesting. So we'll find out as I'm trying to find some I am definitely trying to find out some news on Cudi Romero. Hmm. So apparently that actually happened pregame. Apparently that happened pregame as he was replaced last minute. So you wonder. I don't necessarily think it's a. I don't think necessarily think it's a knock. It's probably it's probably he wasn't feeling 100%. So that's as of right now. It I haven't seen anything that is uh, that suggests there's an injury. But that being said, and maybe yeah, maybe there might have been a pregame knock. Yeah, like I don't. Yeah, from everything I look from everything that I'm reading here, it looks like that decision was made early, and it looks like it was just a late replacement. As it looks like Kevin Danso actually was doing the Kevin Danso was doing all the pregame drills, defensive drills. So yeah, it probably looks like maybe yeah, yeah, maybe it was a knock, but I don't know. It can't be. Me personally, if it is, it was out of precaution. It wasn't anything that you would consider serious. But that being said, we'll find out. Let's see. Let's see. Monty will get some minutes, hopefully 30 minutes or so. I actually kind of would like to see Rando Colomwani get a little bit more than that. I guess the question does Colomwani have 30 plus in his legs, or is that something that that is the actual number? So from that standpoint, we're going to find out. Although Randall Colomwani did train. I think he also played a behind closed door scrimmage during the break as well too. So me personally, I would probably think that Colo probably could go for 30. We'll see. We'll definitely see. Just a quick reminder for those tuning in to make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons and also hit your notification bell because this channel is quickly hitting the 500 mark. It's really getting pretty close to it too. And so I do appreciate all those that have hit the like and subscribe button. But that being said, also hit the notification bell as well too, so you don't miss out on any of Stateside Footy's content coming out. As I'm thinking about doing a post game as well too to recap this afternoon's game, and I'm also thinking about potentially doing a lineup, a projected lineup show. We'll see. Getting a little bit more Spurs content-y, considering that obviously I've been doing a lot of U.S. men's national team coverage over the last couple of weeks for obvious reasons, U.S. international window. But when it comes to club, yeah, I'm going to do a little bit more Spurs content for you fine folks out there. As we are getting ready for the start of the second half, this looks like the players are coming out of the tunnel. Spurs have actually controlled possession there in the first half. One of the big things was the physicality and matching the intensity of what Aston Villa was going to throw at them. I think Spurs did a very, very, very good job of doing that as well too. And it looks like they weren't going to allow Villa to control the tempo of this match. So as of right now, Spurs have done a good job of playing their game, and Aston Villa has had to respond from that side, from that stance. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, you'll blow up over the World Cup. Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to World Cup 2026 because I'll be doing a lot of U.S. coverage during the World Cup. So from that standpoint, I would probably think. But I'm also going to be doing a lot of different live streams as well too, especially if Scotland gets in. I'll potentially do some Scotland live streams at the World Cup. Same thing with England as well too. And maybe if Ireland can pull it off, man, maybe I'll do some Irish coverage as well too. But they have to get in first. That's a tall order. But we are about ready to start the second half of play. And as of right now, it doesn't look like there's any changes. Spurs will hold possession as they will be playing to the south stand as we are underway. As Vicario will play this long down the right-hand side. As that one goes out. As that gets played in. As they're going to try to play this down the left-hand side. Oh, very good run right there by Pedro Porro. As Villa had to play this one out. As Porro will now play this up. As it ricochets off a couple bodies, but it goes down to Villa here. As Villa's going to try to play this a little bit more direct, but Spurs will take this one away. And here we go up the left-hand side. Villa did a very good job right there as they were playing overlapping defenders right there. There's a ball that's into the box. It's going to get headed back. But right there is Kudus. Here's Pedro Porro. Finds Kudus. And Kudus plays it back to Danso. Here's Van de Ven. Here's Odebear. That's a nice ball. 1v1. Interesting. Interesting right there. As I'm trying to figure out exactly what the whistle for is. I guess that's went against Tottenham. As Villa will have possession on the restart. As that gets out of play. That's great. I appreciate that audio. I really do, man. As Villa now we'll try to play this one down the left-hand side as they got room. As this one gets played down the left-hand side, that is a ball in right there, but it's Danso. And Danso does a good job right there as Digne hits the turf right there. Yeah. And it looks like McGinn is asking for a penalty right there, but yeah, no. Danso got to the ball first. If anything, yeah, no. Because he wasn't playing Digne, he was playing the ball. As looks like Digne is down now. As he's suffering from a gunshot wound. As they're replaying the Betancourt goal right there, slick goal. You got to do some Sunny content. That's a cheat code for subs. Yeah. If I want to wax poetically, I was thinking about doing, potentially the top 5 most influential Spurs over the course of the last 25 years. I was thinking that one kind of has been floating around in the mind, thinking about doing something like that, but I want to get a guest on for that one as well too. So maybe I'll reach out to Davo or Jack, see if they're interested. As looks like they just pan to Rando Kolo Moani right there on the Spurs bench. But yeah, here's the interesting thing though with Sonny is that his LAFC are going into the playoffs absolutely red hot. So that's going to be an interesting storyline when it comes to the MLS playoffs. But it looks like Digne is up now. As we see it again, Danso clearly got to the ball. Yeah, the interesting thing though is that I would probably assume that the fan take from across the pond is that Major League Soccer, the skill set as that ball gets played into the box, but right there is Vicario, that the skill set is the same as it was when David Beckham played, and that's simply not the case. The skill set has gotten far better than it was even 5 years ago. But Major League Soccer still has that knock against it, even by U.S. fans. That's the surprising thing is as that ball, there's the cross to the left-hand side. As that gets laid off. Here's Poro. Here's Kudus, 1v1. That's a nice little play right there. That's the surprising thing, how many Americans dislike Major League Soccer. The funny thing is I actually like it, but I'm under no false pretenses to think that it's the best league in the world. Not even remotely close, but I can appreciate it for what it is. As Kevin Danso is getting set for this long throw-in. As that one goes into the box. Ooh, that was nearly a goal. Oh, Spurs missed an opportunity as it fell. And there's a whistle. Obviously, the headlines are messy. As that one came down, and it was Odebear. And he played it right off a defender. That might have been a handball against Kosa. His arms were into his chest like this, and the ball ricocheted right off his hands. Interesting. As Danso again will wipe off the ball. As that ball gets played in, that's a deep throw right there. As that comes down, held in by Xavi. As here's Pedro Porro now. Porro's going to play it through. He finds Kudus. Here's Kudus. Crosses. Kept in. There's a shot. Just wide by Polinia. Oh. Oh. As Betancourt laid it off to Polinia. Oh, but Martinez got a hand on it, though. As Kudus will now play this one short. As that ball gets played to the back post. Oh, what a save by Martinez. Oh, they're going to say offside. Oh. Oh. Oh, yeah, they were offside. Okay. Oh. Oh. I do too. I believe that we will win. As Martinez will play this long. Headed forward. And that'll get out. Down off the left side touchline here. No, that was a nice little point blank save right there. Even if it was offside, as Villa will play this long. As that gets played out. Man, I think Villa will do this again. As Digne will be responsible for this throw in here. Who's going to break? As now that ball's going to get cleared. And Spurs have an opportunity to reset their defense. As that ball's going to, that's a nice pass forward. A lot of space in the box. Oh, as Mullen put one on. Good passing right there by Aston Villa. Very direct. As we see it again, as Van de Ven came in. And that hits off the side net. Spurs are going to have to do a better job. As Aston Villa did a very good job in that direct play. And it looks like Richarlison's getting up now. Shit. But here comes Spurs now. Xavi. There's a shot that's going to go. Ugh. I don't know what Polinia was thinking. Yeah, Xavi laid it off. Yeah, Polinia. I have no idea. And it looks like Richarlison's set to come on. As we are approaching the hour mark now. As now Martinez has to play this long. As that'll get on past. As Van de Ven will play this back. To Vicario. As Danso. As that ball's taken away. But there's Pedro Porro. Oh, Spurs do a good job. As they converge on Morgan Rogers. But they're going to say offside. Spurs dodge a bullet there. As the Villa press. Again. Well, the question is, it's like, he's probably fit, but how many minutes are in his legs, right? As Vicario will play this long. As that bounces around. Spurs are on the left-hand side here. Trying to get around there. Paul, oh, that's a good ball in. It's quickly played out. As Van de Ven will hold it in. Here's Odebear. Odebear holds possession. Here's Porro. Porro's going to play one in. That gets deflected, but there's Martinez. Spurs had another opportunity right there. Yeah, you wonder about Rando Colomwani. From everything we heard, he was set to make his debut today. Spurs will retain possession. Here's Spence. Spence is going to play one back post, and that's a little too far. As Muhammad Kudus couldn't find the ball right there. As it looks like Rodgers is limping. So here comes Richarlison for Matisse Tell. As Matisse Tell, who, early on played pretty well, but as this thing progressed, he lost a little something. And of course, missed a golden goal opportunity right there at the back post. And you can't miss those opportunities, as Martinez is forced to play this long, and that'll go out for Spurs throw-in. So, and it looks like Villa is going to make a double switch, and it looks like it's going to be what Jadon Sancho is coming on. And what is that, Harvey Elliott? No, it's not Elliott. Yeah, so Buendia is coming on for Gassand, and it looks like, Sancho's coming on for Malin. No, Watkins, Ollie Watkins. All righty. All righty, so Buendia is on and Watkins is on. As Pedro Porro now. Ooh. That's a turnover right there. As that shot is going to go well over. It looked like that was McGinn right there. So that means Ollie Watkins will be up top. As Spurs now will play from behind, play out of the back here. As Pedro Porro is going to have to play this one deep as that one gets headed out. So this will be a Spurs throw-in. We'll see exactly how this plays out with Ollie Watkins now on the pitch. A little bit more of a skillful striker than a guy like Mullen. As that ball is going to get crossed to the back post, headed away. Held in by Villa. As they're going to try to play this one, but there's Kevin Danso. And that does get out. So it'll be a goal kick for Spurs here in the 62nd minute now. And they're going to say that it was, Onana was the last to touch. Here's Danso, who will chip this one forward, headed on by Richarlison, but quickly Villa will try to get possession. Here's Kudus. Kudus now down the right-hand side. Kudus is running free. And he'll hold this one up. Here's Spence. Here's Odebear now. Yeah, that's a great point right there. That's a very good point right here. Watkins, yeah, it could be dangerous with VDV on a yellow. Very good point. As they're going to have to play this back. Speaking of VDV, there's VDV. He's going to play this forward up the left-hand side. Here's Xavi. Here's Spence. As that gets played to Danso. And there's a whistle right there as Pedro Porro hits the turf. So yeah, for sure. As it looks like that will go against Buendia, as this will be a free kick. As Pedro Porro will be responsible. Can Spurs cash in? As they lay it off to Kudus. Kudus is trying to get around. He does. Ball in. As that'll get out for, looks like it'll be a Spurs throw-in. Good hustle right there by Kudus. As he got around the edge. As we see it again. So this will be a throw-in. God, I just love the hustle by Kudus. As we are now approaching minute 66. As we're kind of curious about the role of a potential role of Pap Sarr and Lucas Bergvall in this one. As Danso will throw this one in. As that bounces around. Held in by Spurs. Here's Danso. Good play in to Kudus. In the box, Kudus lays it off. Taken away by Villa. And there is a whistle. And there's a yellow as well, too. As we see it again. Oh, it looks like that might be against Danso. Yeah, sure was. And now both VDV and Danso were on yellows. Ooh. As that gets played back. And they're going to have to play this one long. As it'll be Danso. Nice play right there by Danso. As this one goes out for a Spurs throw-in, so it'll be Pedro Porro. And Danso now will be in charge of this one. I will say that Spurs have had their moments here midway through the second half. Villa has looked a little bit more dangerous. As Matisse Dell has his calf under ice here. Here's Richarlison. Oh, that's a good tackle right there. And there's a whistle against Pedro Porro. As play will resume. Yeah, but Villa's had some big chances here. Spurs have had their moments. As that one's ooh. Oh. As Richarlison laid it off a little too hard. Man. As Villa's going to have to play this one back. And now Martinez is going to sky this one as it comes down to Pedro Porro. Here's Caduce. Oh, interesting. Let's look at Pedro Porro coming back down against Ollie Watkins. Oh, nice tackle right there by Polina. As we're approaching the 70th minute. Good hustle right there by Pedro Porro to get back on Watkins, but it was João Polina putting out the fire there. As that one gets played all the way to the left-hand side. As that ball is going to get deflected and it'll get out for a corner. That's my biggest problem with a guy like Richarlison on the pitch. He's not going to bring that type of intensity in the press, especially when you're trying to create turnovers. That's the biggest problem with Richarlison, is that defensively he's kind of lazy. And it looks like Matty Cash will take this corner here. As we're now in the 70th minute. As that ball gets whipped. And that's going to get headed out. Oh, that's a good deflection right there by Wilson Odobert, who's got to play this one out. Good defense right there by Wilson Odobert. And it allows Spurs to reset defensively. As Villa will have to throw in here. As they're going to have to, as that ball's going to go in. And that's going to go all the way out. Chasing it is Polina. Polina down the right-hand side. Polina. And that's going to get played out. Good hustle by Polina. And it looks like both. Oh. So here we go. There's Lucas Bergvall getting ready to come in. And it looks like it might be Mr. Kolo Muani checking in. And I like this, man, Lucas. The question is where is Mr. Kolo Muani going to be deployed? Is it going to be centrally or is it going to be on the left-hand side? As that ball is going to get played into, trying to find Richarlison. As that's taken away by Richarlison. And that's poked away. And that'll be a Aston Villa throw-in. As that ball now is going to get played to the right. That was actually some good footwork right there. As now they're going to try to play this one into the box, but there's Vicario. And Vicario quickly plays it to Jed. As Van de Ven plays it all the way over to Danso. Here's Bentancur. Here's Danso now. Danso's got room. And Danso tries to pass it forward, takes a deflection. Spurs will have the throw in. So here comes Randall Kolo Muani. Ooh, Mr. Kolo, Mr. Muani, all of the above. As that played, that's get played all the way forward here. And there's Martinez. As Villa will have possession here, as that has to get played back to Martinez. And now that thing is going to have to come up. But turned over. Good play. Here's Kudus now. Kudus. And that gets tapped away. Oh, nice pass right there. And now quickly they're going to try to shoot this one down the right-hand side. And it's Jed Spence against Watkins. Villa will hold possession still. Good physical play by Jed Spence. As they're going to have to play this one back. Spurs are looking a little leggy here on defense. As Villa's looking for the dagger here. As they're going to play this one up the right-hand side. That ball's in. That'll get deflected out. And that will be a Villa corner. So far, Spurs have done a good job defensively, containing Ollie Watkins. Outside of the Morgan Rogers goal, you would have to say that Spurs have done a good job here. As we're in the 76th minute. As that ball gets whipped in. Headed out. Now cleared. As that's going to get headed back. And immediately they try to play this one back in. Oh boy. As there's a shot. Oh, and they just scored. Oh, again from outside. Again from outside the 18. As Spurs did a good job defending. As it gets cleared, immediately it gets played back. Spurs are caught flat-footed defensively. And from outside, he just rips a beautiful shot into the corner. Buena. And now Aston Villa takes a 2-1 lead, and you can't say that it wasn't coming. As Spurs home woes continue. Spurs home woes continue as Villa now takes the 2-1 lead. As Buendia. That really was kind of a beautiful finish. As now checking in is Lucas Bergvall. And checking in is Randall Colomwani. So we will see if Spurs have enough scrap and fight in them to pull out a result here. As here's Vicario. We'll play this up the left-hand side. As this will be a Spurs throw in here. As the second half has progressed, Aston Villa kind of has been flexing their muscle, essentially keeping Spurs a little bit more on the back foot than you'd like. Stark contrast to the way the first half ended. As this ball going to get played into the box. Headed up. As that ball's taken away. This Porro is going to play one to the back post. Oh. Oh. Unbelievable. As we've hit the 80th minute, 10 minutes to play here. Villa has taken a 2-1 lead. And again, we see this goal from outside the 18. As Danso actually hit the deck there. Interesting. As Martinez plays this long. Headed forward. Here's Kudus. Plays it down to Bergvall. Here's Bergie Berg. As that's going to get out for a Villa throw in. Good defense right there. And it looks like Onana is down. Yeah, no. Yeah, there's no foul there. As coming in now for Villa, there's a two-sided switch, and it looks like we're going to see Barkley on for Onana. And it looks like Matson's going to be in for Digne. As Matson here will be responsible for the throw-in as that gets headed forward. Down to Pedro Porro. Taken away right there by Spurs. Oh. Oh, no. That's Pedro Porro's down. Yeah, dude, you're not going to get a whistle. Oh, right there. It was a inadvertent slap in the face. As they will restart the throw-in. As Villa who came into this match with essentially 4 wins on the bounce. As of right now, have the 2-1 lead. Spurs looking for an equalizer as that ball gets played forward. It's just a little too far forward. As that goes immediately to Danso. Here's Pedro Porro now, who's got to play this forward. And it's Matson. Here's, oh, look at that. Here's Kudus. And he's, as that gets deflected. Here's Porro. Van de Ven. Nice touch right here. Here's Porro's going to try to play one down. Oh, this Bergvall played one in. Good defense. They're going to say offside. Oh. And it looks like both Papsar and Brendan Johnson are coming in. Yikes. Papsar good, Brendan Johnson bad. So they'll get at least a few minutes on the pitch here at the next stoppage. Spurs have been whistled for offsides 5 times in this match. Jesus, as that ball gets played long. As there's a whistle. As here they come. As Brendan Johnson comes in. For Mohamed Kudus. And Papsar comes on for Rodrigo Betancourt. As that means what? Kolo Muani gets pushed up a little higher. As that's tipped out, and that'll be a corner. As we're in the 86th minute. As Villa will have the corner here. As that's going to get played short. As that ball gets whistled in, headed away, kept in. The shot gets deflected. Chasing after it is Pedro Porro. And Porro's going to play this one forward. And as Porro hits the deck. As that ball gets deflected. As Pedro Porro had space on the right side. And Porro is absolutely beside himself. As this will be a goal kick here. 3 minutes remain, plus stoppage time. As Spurs are looking for the equalizer. A stark contrast between the first and second half. As Spurs now will hold possession down the left-hand side. Here's Danso. Plays it to the right. Here's Porro. As Villa is ratcheting up the pressure here. And it's Polinia. No whistles. Polinia trips on himself. Here comes Villa now. Lays it off to the left. Good ball through. Oh, boy. As there's a whistle right there on McGinn. As Vicario was signaling everybody to get down the pitch. As Vicario goes long. Headed forward. As Kolo Muani gives chase. That'll be a Spurs throw-in. Can we chase this equalizer here? It'll be Danso. 89th minute. As that ball gets played in. And Villa will hold possession. Oh, nice play right there by Bergvall. Here's Kudus. Cuts in. Kudus. Credit to Villa, man. Defensively, they played good. Oh, that ball gets taken away from Pap. That's a good deflection right there. VDV 1v1 against Ollie Watkins. Or was that McGinn? Doesn't matter. As we will have 7 minutes of stoppage time. Spurs are down to their final 7. As Villa will have another corner here. As that ball gets whipped in. Headed away. Headed forward. Here comes Kudus now. As Kudus will try to play this one forward. Immediately cleared. Oh, a nice pass right there. And Villa now will probably try to play keep away here. As Villa's doing a very good job of controlling the possession here. There you go. Bergvall the disruptor. As here's Pedro Porro. He's going to have to play this long. He finds Kudus. Kudus. That's going to get played out. The 7 minutes, where did it come from? It was from all the gunshots, man. All that, all that flopping. As Kudus now will be in charge of this corner here. As we're in the 92nd minute. As that ball gets whipped in. Back post, headed forward. Oh. And Spurs missed a golden opportunity right there. And it was Kolo Muani that just flat out missed. Randall. As Spurs will throw this one in deep. Headed on forward. As Villa's done a very good job defensively. They'll try to play this one forward. And the refs will say this will be a Villa throw in here. Much to the argument of Pedro Porro. As we're approaching minute 94, Spurs are running out of time here. As that gets played in. As looks like that'll get out for a goal kick. as that goes long. As that'll get out. As Spurs essentially have had absolutely nothing to offer in the attack here in the second half. Outside of maybe João Palhinha, as here comes Spurs here. As Pedro Porro will play it down to Kudus. That ball's in to the back post. Fucking Brendan Johnson. And that falls to Brennan. As Brennan tried to get himself set and absolutely skies it. As we're at the 95 plus 30. As Martinez will play it long. That gets headed forward. And here's Vicario. Plays it quickly. Here's Pedro Porro. Porro cuts in. Porro is going to play this off to the left. Here's Brennan. And Brennan's going to play one to the back post. That was actually not a bad ball from Brennan. As Vicario will come out to chase. 96th minute. Vicario headed forward to Pap. Offsides is called. And now Villa's just going to waste time. As this pretty much could be it here. As he will play this one deep. And there it is. There it is. Spurs drop one at home again, 2-1 to Aston Villa. As Spurs will stay in 6th place on 14 points. As Villa gains another 3 to move themselves to 6. The Spurs blew a golden opportunity in this one. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's probably the right result. But it was a tale of two different halves. I thought, especially in the first half, Spurs matched the intensity of Villa. And we're up for the fight. And I thought Spurs did a very good job of controlling possession and also, getting into the box and, putting themselves in good positions to, put shots on net. But in the second half, credit Villa because they're the ones that doubled down on that pressure. And at times we got bullied off the ball and there was very little to no response from Spurs in the second half. As a matter of fact, we didn't necessarily create all that much in the second half, outside from, a few opportunities from Palhinha. We didn't match it. And, credit to Aston Villa. They get their 2 goals from outside. And of course that's the Achilles heel for a guy like Vicario, who for whatever reason just cannot seem to, contain those outside shots, but it is what it is. Spurs drop 1-2-1. So let's go ahead and look at the stats here from the full time. Spurs won the possession battle 53-47. They also won the XG battle 0.97 to 0.37. Total shots, Spurs 9, Villa 8. Shots on target, Spurs 3, Villa 2. And big chances, Spurs had 4, but they also missed 3. Accurate passes, Spurs 336, Villa 287. Fouls committed, Spurs 11, Villa 7. Corners was even at 6-6. When you look at the XG, even though Spurs won the total XG battle, XG from open play was something quite different, as Villa had 0.32 to Spurs 0.24. Spurs, again, were very good on set plays. XG from set plays 0.74 to 0.05. But XG on target, again, was a different story. But let's take a look at the shots. Shots inside the box, Spurs had 6 to Villa's 2, but outside the box, Villa 6, Spurs 3. And that's the thing. It's like understanding your opponent and understanding where some of your weaknesses are. That is something that Unai Emery definitely keyed on, because Villa did a very good job of creating space from outside the 18 and trying to put balls on net. Morgan Rogers had a beautiful finish, and of course Buendia also had a beautiful finish as well too. And from that standpoint, both of those goals, I felt like Spurs got caught flat-footed, and because of it, we were punished for it. Total passes, Spurs 382, Villa 343. Passes in the own half, Spurs 179, Villa 165. Opposition half, Spurs 157, Villa 122. Accurate long balls, Spurs 25, Villa 15. Accurate crosses, Spurs 5, Villa 0. Throws 23 to 21 for Spurs. Touches in the opposition box 27 to 8. So Spurs were able to find their way into the box, but the reality was that Villa's defense stood tough, because how much outside of the Betancourt goal, how many shots did Spurs actually get to actually place on Martinez? And the answer was very few to none. And Spurs 6 offside whistles, man. That cannot happen. 2 yellow cards for Spurs, 1 by Van de Ven, 1 by Kevin Danso. As we look at defense now, the tackle battle, Spurs won at 25-23. Spurs won the interception battle 6-3. Spurs also had 2 blocks as well too, as Villa had 29 clearances, which to me highlights a very big stat right there. For as much as you hold possession and can get into the opposition box, right? The ability to be able to clear it is something completely different. Duels won, Villa 54, Spurs 47. Ground duels 39-36 Villa. Aerial duels 15-11 Villa, and successful dribbles 7-4. Yeah, you know what? That's the thing, is I agree with Dan Davenport right here as well too. I thought we were sloppy at times as well too, and especially in the counterattack too, because when you look at the goals that were scored, as we look at Buendia's goal right here, like the ability to cut in without any opposition is quite alarming, and that was the same thing on the Morgan Rogers goal as well too. For the most part, the physicality, for whatever reason, man, we let up on the physicality in the second half. And I thought it was a very big tale of 2 different halves, because I thought Spurs did a very good job of matching it in the first half. But from that standpoint, whatever the reason was, Spurs just kind of let themselves, I can't explain it, right? I can't explain why Spurs decided to kind of let their foot off the gas intensity wise in that second half, because you know what, at the end of the day, man, when you look at how Villa played in the middle of the park, man, they were just far more physical, bullied us off the ball. We're able to get forward direct in some instances, and it's just like that. That's just not going to be sustainable. You're going to have to be able to do it for a full 90. And then, of course, in the second half, we just, for whatever reason, could not get forward. it is what it is. I think Villa actually deserved this win. So from that standpoint, it is what it is. And Audio Artisan says, big up, got to catch you soon. I appreciate it, Audio. So that's going to do it for us here. Villa takes the 3 points, moves into 10th place in the table. And of course, our home form continues to be a problem. When we look at the schedule coming up, let's go ahead and take a look at that coming up here. Next week, we travel to Everton on the 26th before returning back to the stadium on November 1st against Chelsea. So again, two very difficult opponents coming up for Spurs. Lately, I wouldn't say that we've been all that great at Everton, whether it's Goodison Park. This will be our first opportunity in their new stadium. And then, of course, home against Chelsea on November 1st. So it's not going to get easy. And sandwiched in between that is obviously the Champions League as well, too, against Monaco. And this is not exactly the way that you want to start coming off the international break, especially considering, the performance against Leeds a couple weeks back. But that being said, man, when I look at this game, it's it's the same Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of Tottenham, where it's like you're going to get very good. I thought our performance, man, was absolutely brilliant in the first half, and I think we controlled the pace. I think we matched the intensity, and by the way, I think we were forcing Villa to essentially play our game, but for whatever reason, at the start of the second half, it was all Villa. If you're not up for that type of fight, man, these are the type of things that are going to happen. And it almost felt like right around that 60 to 70 minute mark, it just seemed like that goal was coming because Villa just was able to get forward with ease. It's just disappointing from my chair here. There was no. That's the thing. It's like there's no excuses for these type of performances, man. It's a bummer because we know exactly what the expectation level is, and we know exactly how Villa wants to play. And so from that standpoint, right, you can't just let them, bully us for every single ball. The things that we did well in the first half, we were absolutely dog shit in the second half. And from that standpoint, man, it just pisses me off, right? It really does, because this was a wasted opportunity against an opponent that is going to be there. You probably presume at the end, right? And so from that, dude, I'm just at a loss for words because that second half was just absolute dog shit. Although we did get to see the Premier League debut of Randall Kolo Muani, and I would probably assume we're gonna have some carryover effect against Monaco on Wednesday. But that being said, it's like, man, you can't allow 3 points to escape you at home, and it's something that Thomas Frank is going to have to address, and it's going to have to get better because as far as I'm concerned, man, your home form in the Premier League is your bread and butter, and this was 3 points out the door that. At the very least, if we actually had just matched the intensity of the first half, maybe we even take a 2-1 lead. But that being said, it is what it is, man. And I guess from this standpoint, it's like tip your hat to Villa, because they're the ones that figured out the cheat code that, if you're physical outside the 18 and you can create space and put shots on, man, you're going to get goals. It's just disappointing. This is a disappointing one. But it is what it is. Dan Davenport asks, am I doing the watch along for Monaco? I am not, because I am at work on Wednesday. So it will be back next week against Everton. It's too bad. I wish I actually could do the midweek watch alongs, but unfortunately, not exactly able to. So it is what it is. But that being said, let's take a look at the table after the match week 8. Arsenal in first place, 3 points clear of Man City at 16. Liverpool is sitting on 15 along with Bournemouth. Good for Bournemouth. Chelsea sitting in 5th place on the same goal differential as Spurs at 14 points, along with Sunderland. Crystal Palace is there on 13 points, followed by Brighton and Villa. So, man, I'm just bummed out, man, because this didn't have to play out this way. But when you allow somebody in, if you allow your opponent in through the back door with physical play, man, you're going to get punished. And that's exactly what happened today. And what a shit way to end your weekend. But anyway, man, we'll be back next weekend for Spurs versus Everton, man. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, because quite frankly, man, this just kind of put me in a sour mood, but it is what it is, man. Until next weekend, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, man. Dan Davenport, always love having you around. Same thing with you, Audio. And to everyone else that tuned in today, be sure to hit your like and subscribe buttons, and make sure you hit the notification bell as well too, so you don't miss out on any content here on Stateside Footy. So once again, man, Spurs dropped this 1-2-1 to an Aston Villa team that was, that was up for the task today. So take care, guys. Enjoy your weekend. I'm out.